Hi, I'm Roy Stern and welcome again to my channel. Welcome to our living room. And today I want to discuss a question I get quite a lot recently, not only here in my channel, but on my podcast, on Instagram or YouTube, Facebook, because I'm a public speaker, as some of you know, and I used to work almost full time as a public speaker. The rest of the time I did my startup and charity work, and I got to the point that I had to fly like 8 times a month to give a talk, which was tremendously affecting my health. So Corona did a lot of good things, not only bad things, and of course the environment, but impacting people like me that used to travel all the time and kind of lose focus sometime and didn't treat their body so healthy. So yes, definitely there. Stopping to fly was a blessed thing, spend more time with my loved one and be disconnected from others because of Corona. But in general, it was a good thing. A bad thing that happened was the thing that affects my life most, I think, which is the income or the livelihood. Because as a public speaker, you actually have to go and publicly speak. And I wasn't a great fan of webinars actually before that, because I felt that there are webinars, they are very interactive, that you can of course learn something and have a small group of people, maybe 4 and 5 people, and you can have this like online lesson. But in general, I didn't do that so much. And what happened during Corona is that I was forced to move everything very fast online. I must say I was kind of prepared because I had the infrastructure ready and some projects undergoing, and I had some online courses, but it wasn't any main source of income. And as a public speaker, I really prefer to engage with the audience, to see the reaction of the audience when you speak to them, to kind of feel the warmth from them. But the sad thing was that agents and conference organizers and so on, the first thing they did, of course, was to cancel events, which was completely making sense. But then a cascade of events happened that kind of shed light on the ugly face of the conference industry. And I was a conference organizer myself, like back in the day, regarding my charity and other projects. And I was a TEDx organizer. I actually was the first one to have a TEDx event in an Israeli university, and it drew a lot of attention. And then I started a few more franchises in Israel and abroad. I took a lot of involvement there. But even then, like, I think that what guided us doing TEDx was that it's kind of a non-profit and it's everything for education, everything for the society. So the speakers do not get paid, and they know that they get this stage that they are so exposed, and they can associate their name with this TEDx brand, and many people did, and it kind of up your game. Like, you are not a kind of a very good speaker or made it to the next milestone if you haven't done at least a TEDx. A TED is something completely else, because it's really, really a small number of people that have the chance to do it. And now with Corona, maybe even less, because it's only online and very limited. But TEDx was so clear. Everything was unpaid. You shouldn't get paid for speaking. Everything was clear. What was the ugly side of Corona was that many conference organizers that usually was more polite would kind of, I'm not going to spend my time on speakers anymore, because people pay me for tickets anyway, and the speaker gets to expose themselves. And I really didn't like it, because there is this notion, and I've heard it from several conference organizers, that speakers usually sell something, so they always shouldn't, like, they should never be paid. Like, they're always making money off the side, which is not true. Like, I'm not a big fan of this approach that as a digital persona, you have to have the full package. I actually know some companies in Israel and abroad that you just go to this company and you pay them like a few $1,000s, and they make sure that you have like the right online course set up, the right online presence set up, even an ebook. Some of them even hire like a ghostwriter for you to write your book. So you have like this, you're now this person who has everything. But what if I don't want to have everything? What if I'm not a person who likes to teach? Why should I have an online course? Or what if I don't like to write, or I don't think there is a value of me selling something in that sense? Because like some people just want to do what they're good at. And of course that I'm all for diversifying your income sources, but as a public speaker, you really need to make a choice. And I think that it really depends which kind of public speaker you are. If you're a public speaker that is doing it as a service to your organization or company or cause, and if this is something on the side, you already have your salary, you already have your money like in the bank, and then you just go and this is part of your job to be in a few conferences, even if they're online right now. It's like part of your job to extend this reach of your organization. That totally makes sense that it wouldn't be your main thing and you wouldn't even ask for money for it. Maybe in the States it's more common that even if you do it as an outreach, you can get paid, but not in Europe, not in Israel, not in the East, in the places I know at least. But what if you are really somebody like me who has you had a very unique career or very unique life story. We have a lot of people in Israel, like they were professional athletes and now they reached the Olympics and now they just retired and they want to empower other people with their journey. Or we have a few examples of people who are kind of veterans who got injured in a war and they have this amazing story to tell and this message is super important, and some of them are disabled, so it's very hard for them to work in other things, so they became speakers to actually deliver a message. They're kind of a vessel for this. These people are making their sole income from public speaking. And it's not fair that conference organizers are actually now saying I'm going to pay this superstar speaker, but the rest of the 30 speakers or 40 speakers that people pay tickets to come to see, they're not going to get anything. So for me, this is a big no-no, guys. And you need to understand, I've been in both sides and I know how it looks like from all directions. And this is a complete bullshit. Sorry, if somebody is paying you a ticket to come to your conference, even if it's online, yes, even if now in Corona, you put your entire conference online and people pay really little, and this is for profit, you gotta pay your speaker. Even if you pay a speaker $200 for coming and doing these 15 minutes of online talk, this is more respectful to you and for him. Of course, that some young speakers that wants to start right now, Corona is a perfect time to start because yes, you have more chances to do things online, so you don't have to work so hard traveling to another place, wasting a lot of time. You just need to be prepared and of course, keep it brief. So you can say, yes, I'm a young speaker, I want to promote myself because with vaccination and so on, in 1 or 2 years, Corona will probably be over and conferences will be a big thing again because people are craving this human connection and this live experience again. So yes, you can say, I'm willing to give a 15 minutes talk. I'm willing to share my knowledge and experience. I'm willing to participate. And I can do it for free because I'm just starting out or it's Corona and so on. But it has to be limited and has to be agreed. I think that it really depends on the type of the conference. Every conference that makes money off the content, they should pay speakers. Everything that is for charity, for non-profit, you should negotiate it. And I think that I do a lot of pro bono as well. But people ask me again, what is the actual tip you can give us going through Corona as public speakers? So the rush that was in the first few months that everybody should do webinars, I don't know. I'm not a great fan of it because yes, I think webinars are great tools, and if you know how to do them, and this is a kind of a difference between a speaker and a teacher. I'm a teacher too, so if you really know how to teach and you're teaching online, that's great. But you should never go from the stage to online and just say, oh, I'm just going to do the same talk, just sitting and talking to my phone or laptop. It's not going to work. A few things you need to understand when you're moving online. Let's start with a basic webinar or online talk when you're on Zoom or another platform and you actually need to stream your talk live. So first of all, it applies to any other YouTube video. You need lights. You cannot use regular room lit environment and expect to not look grainy and kind of really bad. Even right now, when I'm doing regular Zoom calls, like professional meeting, I have my ring light directed to me with a soft yellowish color. And people say, wow, you look amazing. Is it your webcam? And I'm like, yeah, it's a MacBook webcam. It's not that great, actually. It's very basic. The phone one is much better because it was designed to capture and take selfies and front-facing video. You can actually do a front-facing video and put it in a YouTube, and many people wouldn't even notice because it's really high quality, at least in the new iPhones and Samsungs and so on. You need light. So if you don't have ring light and if you don't have other light source, just take a little night lamp or other little source of light that you have in your home and just put it kind of next to you. And the best thing that I've heard was actually that people just said, just make sure that everything that can emit light in the room is just on you. But if you're going to do it as a living, guys, this is super cheap. I know that some of you are struggling right now, but a simple tripod costs around $20, and a ring light, something like this, you can actually get some sort of a setup around, I don't know, $70 or so that will allow you to attach your phone or put your laptop in a position that you have enough light and you have enough camera. So second will be the cameras. I don't know, you need to check your laptops, guys, because I've been to events that you have the keynote speaker looking like he's a character from Minecraft. Really. If your laptop camera is so bad, you can stream your talk using your phone and use the back camera, not the front facing. It's usually better. Just test it before. Just look at it before, see how the scene look. It doesn't have to be something fancy. It can be a living room. It can be an office setting. It can be dining area. It doesn't matter. Working station. You need to have this little trick here that you press longly on the phone and you can lock the exposure and the light. And if it looks too dark, at least in iPhone, you can press your finger up, like slide it up, and then you have a sun animation. I can show it a post-production. And then you have the object more bright. So more light, brightness on the phone using the back side of your camera. And not the front-facing camera if you can. I know you cannot see yourself, but if you look straight at the lens, and with the iPhone 11 and so on, it's like two eyes looking at you, so you just look at them back, so it's like a little character that smiles to you, so it's a bit easy, depends on the direction of the phone. What I'm trying to say is that the technicalities are super important if you're moving online. Another thing, all these funnels, some people already have this mailing list and so on, and they can try to sell their talks online. People right now wouldn't pay for a per se talk, they would pay for value, they will pay for skill. If you're not a kind of speaker who give a certain skill, so it's either you're working with an organization. I did a few motivational talks with like a dorm organization across Europe that stream it to all the students living there, and other entrepreneurship organization. That's great. But if you don't have those leads, you can just offer something. And if you don't have anything to offer that is really tangible, I wouldn't try to have a webinar. I think that webinars should be perceived to something you can actually give knowledge and really transfer knowledge from you to the participants. If you don't have it, if it's more inspirational, more kind of, I'm a kind of speaker that is more motivational, what I would do, it's one of two things. One is you can wrap it in an online course. Try to think what can people gain from it, and if it's something tangible, if you say like I have motivational tools that help people manage their time better, so this can be an online course. I would really recommend you, if you want to take this path, to really not invest too much money in it right now, because it's very very fluctuating and it's very saturated. But I'm not saying don't do it. I say, yes, you can do online courses, but my safest bet would be actually to do a low-cost production right now, to do mini courses. And I really recommend Skillshare for that, because on Skillshare, it's more like Netflix for online courses, especially in more like art and business and creative industries. So basically what's going to happen there is that you can have a course of 15 minutes or 20 minutes. You can actually have a certain question you're answering in those like 3 or 4 lessons, mini lessons of 5 minutes or 4 minutes or so. So, for instance, you're a motivational speaker, as I said, that talk about managing time better. Make a course out of it. Say like my time management skill course, and put it on Skillshare. How you film it, just like I said about the other topic of streaming. Just use your phone. If you don't have a camera setting, if you don't have access to a professional studio or company or the budget to do it, please, guys, your phones are so amazing right now. You have so much power in this few $100 tool that you have in your hand every day. So I really liked one of the streamers that said that don't confuse the fact that you use it every day to the fact that it can actually serve you for YouTube or online creation. Because sometimes people say, I need to have this special equipment. I need to buy this special camera. For the most cases, if you have enough lights coming in, enough lighting in the room, you don't really need anything but your iPhone. You just need to make the set right. And I will devote a specific video on it. That if you create this illusion, for instance, you're sitting on a nice chair next to a bookshelf and you're just looking at the camera and looking around a bit, and you are giving the sensation the room is kind of bigger, and you kind of bring people into your own study, and you can do a very simple online course. Another thing is that you can always incorporate presentations in those mini courses. So you can have a presentation running and you're on a little window, or you're talking and the presentation comes with slides every now and then, or you're talking and you leave enough space so you can put graphics on later in post-production. I think it's super easy. And as a public speaker, I wouldn't just put my entire talk right now of like 45 minutes or 1 hour and just put it online. I would definitely try to create content out of it. Another rule is basically to really take the essence of your talk right now. And you can view my ABC of public speaking system. You take the essence of your talk, because there are a lot of practicalities there. There are motivation, inspiration, and so on. Everything that is motivational, inspirational, put it on YouTube. If you don't have a YouTube channel so far as a public speaker, please have it now. It doesn't have to be super polished. You don't have to be Tony Robbins. You don't have to be such a business oriented, but have it with your own branding. Try to have the handles of all social media the same, and just put everything inspirational, informatics, about yourself, informational that you can share in YouTube. Everything that is action items, everything that people can actually take and do, you can also use Skillshare to put it as an online course. If you have longer content, if you think, hey, I'm an expert of time management, again, this example that I've made up, you can have a longer course, because if you have more than 30 minutes, you can actually have a Udemy course, and then you can increase your income. There are a lot of good systems out there for webinars and so on, but I really think that you shouldn't force yourself to do sales if you don't do it so far. Most of the agents right now for speakers are really struggling. I get a lot of webinar and recorded talk requests from my agent back in Israel. But they're really struggling because there is price dumping too, and you need to consider it. I've heard about a speaker back in my own country that usually takes around $2,000 for a talk, and she was willing to do a talk in like $300. So she kind of broke the market because she needed money. So of course it affects all of us, but this is healthy economy, capitalism, competition. Like, she can do whatever she likes, but you need to understand that right now everything will be like this as speakers. So I wouldn't try to put all my time and effort to sell a product. I would let other people sell it for you. That's what I'm talking about. Skillshare, everything that's tangible that you can teach other people. Make 1, 2, 3, 4 mini courses. Everything you think you can share and teach, put it on Skillshare. If you have a lot of content and it's more than half an hour, closer to an hour, make a longer course, put it on Udemy. Of course, there are Teachable and Kajabi and other places. And if you already have a digital business, you can go there and do it. And then there's a lot of experts that just take your content and make a course out of it. That's great. There are professional studios. I'm about to launch my masterclass in public speaking, and I've worked with this amazing studio and digital media company called Alt-Tag in Bratislava, Slovakia, because it's very close to where I live in Vienna. And they made an amazing job because they have these black magic cameras, and they know how to edit, and they know how to shoot, and they know how to direct it. But this is amazing. If you can get access, if you're in this region, amazing. I'm sure that everywhere you are in the world right now, there are video creators, there are studios that really need your work right now. And I'm sure the prices will be more reasonable. If quarantines allow it, and if you can find a place you can make your content online, great, do it there. But if not, and if you're limited, you can do it at home and start. And you can make around $50 a month from this 15 minutes course on Skillshare, basically kind of as a passive income, no stress. So this is another tip I would give. If you have an access to a professional, make a barter, try to find a way to work together, that's great. But if not, you have your phone, simple lights, and just put your message out there. But you need to remember, it's all about you. You are kind of your own business as public speaker. You have to take care of yourself. I wouldn't expect you now to make cold calls right now yourself, even though I have some friends who does it, because everything is fluctuating. I had 5 or 6 cancellations in the last few months because there are second quarantine, and then everything was kind of okay in Europe. So I already got new invitation to come as speakers, and those conference organizers had to cancel the event again. And of course, that usually you don't get compensated because it's kind of Corona. So usually the contracts are covering it. So as a public speaker, you just plan and you have flight tickets and everything. Don't expect anything to change in the few months ahead. Just make sure that you put everything out there online. We have this amazing opportunity right now to stop having excuses as public speakers and be more of an influencer or creator, because that's what we do every day. We're on stages, we talk to people, we influence people, and I really recommend you guys to really start your own YouTube channel. If you don't have all major social media accounts, now is the time. There are amazing people who also need your money because they're freelancers and they're digital nomads, or they really are in a crisis right now due to Corona, and they can help you with design, with social media management, everything you need. It's going to be super cheap right now. You really need to understand that if you don't do stuff for yourself, I rarely think that any agent right now can get you sufficient income. So starting a YouTube channel or putting yourself on social media or starting online courses, this is great. If you already have the funnels to sell webinars and to sell courses and to sell your online talks, this is amazing. You can offer corporations to organizations and say, hey, let's have a 1-hour call with me with your workers or with your students or whatever. And I'm going to teach them something. I'm going to give them inspiration in time of Corona right now. And instead of charging your usual fee, you can ask them, what is your budget right now? Because many organizations talk to me really honestly and say, hey, we lost a lot of income. We don't have a lot of budget, but we can spare the $300. And guys, right now in Corona, if you sit at home and do this work and somebody offers you a few $100s, some of my colleagues will say never price dump and you have to keep your integrity. But guys, if you need the money right now and you have the chance to talk to people, do it. Find us a way to sell a package maybe of a few talks in a very reasonable price. I usually take much more than what I take in Corona, but I would not say no to a few $100s right now just because I have my ego and we need to pay the bills, right? So this is another recommendation. And my last recommendation for today will be actually write a book. Most public speakers have so much to talk about, so much to say. I think that writing a book is just a matter of time. Some people don't really know how to start. There are a lot of resources out there. The best would be to have a very good editor on your side. I'm not talking about ghostwriter. I'm going to talk about it in a second. A very good editor, and I can recommend mine. She's totally amazing, will really guide you through. I wanted to write my book. I already written a book before, but I wanted to write my book about my memoir, my life story, my self-help, my kind of motivational book that really relates to what I do as a public speaker years ago. And I didn't find the time because I was flying all the time and had startups and charities and so on. So now was the time. I just said, hey, I don't have talks. My flights are canceled. Let's start writing the book. And I'm already halfway through, and I started like 4 months ago. So I think that if you really want to start a book, there's Scribe Book. It's amazing organization online, and they have amazing resources for free, like a template for writing your book, YouTube channel, podcast, and so on. This is a very good recommendation. I can put it down below. I can put down below a very good editor. If you really don't like or don't want to write your book, you can hire a ghostwriter. It's going to cost you a bit, but many public speakers who wrote books actually used ghostwriters to help them write the book, and a very good ghostwriter will really guide you through the process. I've heard about cases that people got interviewed for like 2-3 times and provided some written materials, and the rest was done by the ghostwriter. I really don't like it because I think that you have your own unique voice, but if you work with a good editor / ghostwriter, you can bring your word out. And remember, as public speakers, we have more value and we can make more money if we can actually show that we're authors as well. To put this word author, just really up your game, not only TEDx or major conferences. The word author really ups your game as a public speaker. So this will be the last recommendation that I have. So if I recap it, like everything that you can teach, do an online course. If you already have funnels, great, you can do webinars. If you don't have funnels, like I would just use sources that are out there like Skillshare and build mini courses. The rest should go to YouTube to expand your reach. If you are filming yourself, make sure you have enough light. The best it will be to use the soft light on a ring light. Buying a very simple tripod, put it on the table, a very simple ring light or this LED panel, put it on the table if you don't have a kit. Make sure you have enough light, use your phone, but put your words out there. In the following months, I'm going to launch a website called Speakers Unite, because I had enough of this kind of so segregated speaker agent kind of realm. In Europe, you barely can find agents for us speakers. In America, it's very developed, but still, I'm going to put everything in one place, in one website, so have kind of a marketplace for speakers. And if you have any comments or want to pitch in or whatever, like just a comment below. I'm going to put the link to this new website. It's very still under development, but it's going to be super cool to have as many of you public speakers there registered, because who knows, we do SEO and maybe somebody will find you and you get hired. So it's totally for free for now. And yes, if you have any comments, please comment down below. If you like this video, please like. If you didn't like it, you can dislike. If you like my content, please subscribe. This channel is not only about public speaking. I do it as a profession and I teach public speaking, but it's also about motivation and entrepreneurship in general. So feel free to subscribe and watch more videos, and I'll see you next week.